Hello everyone, my name is Laura Rizak and I'm the Associate Rector of St. Stephen's Episcopal Church in Charleston, South Carolina. And today I'd like to talk to you about one of the things that our parish is doing during the upcoming Lenten season, and that is something called Lent Madness. Now we did this last year, and so you might be familiar with it from the video that our rector Adam and I did a year ago, but it's been a while, or maybe you didn't participate then, so I wanted to give you some information about what the heck Lent Madness is and how you could participate. So Forward Movement, which is an organization in the Episcopal Church that puts out devotionals and things of that nature, started something called Lent Madness several years ago. And this is sort of a take on March Madness, where you have all of the top basketball teams, the college basketball teams, competing with one another until ultimately you have the champion, right? So just to have fun, the folks that founded this thought that it could be neat to have saints competing against one another. Men and women who have been really important in the life and history of the church. Men and women who have inspired us to live more loving, more Christ-centered lives. And that it could be fun to have them compete against one another in terms of people voting for them, until at the very end you had the number one saint for that year who would win the golden halo. Now, of course, all of us and all saints are loved by God. So, we don't need to think about choosing one that's better than the other, right? In terms of a kind of negative connotation. It's more, just thinking about the witness of those two people and which one strikes you as maybe helpful for your life right now, or one that you see, that you connect with particularly in this moment. It's also a fun way to learn about some of the saints that maybe we're not as familiar with in our tradition. So last year, one of the things we did was hand out brackets, and we've got those for this year. This is what a bracket looks like. And again, if you've done March Madness, this is pretty similar to a basketball bracket. What we have are the names of saints that are going to go head to head, halo to halo, that are going to be competing against one another in the voting. That again is this nationwide thing that Forward Movement is doing. So for example, Stephen and Wenceslas are going to be going head to head and seeing who gets the most votes. Whoever gets the most votes nationally will move on from that round of 32, that initial round, to the Saintly 16. All right, so that's how the voting will work. Now, what we're going to do as a parish is we are going to fill out a bracket before all that voting starts. So again, it's just like if you're doing March Madness brackets with your friends, you got to fill everything out before the competition happens. Otherwise, people who are not good and honest folks, certainly nobody at St. Stephen's would do this, but still, people who are not good and honest folks might cheat on the bracket. So we have to fill it all out before any of the voting begins. So you can pick up a bracket. Many of you might have done this at church this week. So you pick up a bracket and you would look at some of the competitors. So for example, Stephen and Wenceslas. Stephen versus Wenceslas. Let me grab a pen here. I wonder who would win. Now you might be thinking, well, Stephen, I know who Stephen is. That's our church's patron saint. We know that he was the first martyr for the faith, the first deacon, known for his eloquence in defending the faith, known for, as deacons are, service to the poor. Wenceslas, you might be thinking, well, I know good King Wenceslas went down on the feast of Stephen. Oh, maybe that's why they were selected to go head to head, right? But maybe you don't know very much about him. So you might be thinking, I don't really know who to pick here. Well, there's two things you can do. First, you could pay Forward Movement $4 or $5 and get the complete biographies of all of these saints, which you're certainly welcome to do. You can get that on your Kindle. Or I have made you a cheat sheet with bullet points of the most important features of the lives of these saints. Well, important according to Laura. Somebody else might disagree, but I did my best to give a good and accurate representation of each of these, of the major milestones and importance of each of these saints. So we've got some information about Stephen right here. For Wenceslas, well, he was a 10th century Czech ruler. My husband's family is Czech, so I'm liking him already. He ended the persecution of Christians in Bohemia and sought peaceful relations with neighboring kingdoms. Very nice. And he was murdered by his brother as he entered a church for worship. So thinking about Stephen versus Wenceslas, you can then make a decision of who you feel more inspired by, who you want to say, you know what, this year, that one would slightly edge out the other. So you can do that based on, your own spiritual leanings, or if you're really Machiavellian and you really want to win and have the best bracket in the parish, you can think, which person is going to get more votes in the nationwide competition? Two ways to approach this, two different kinds of people, I suppose. For me, I'm going to go ahead and put Stephen because I love St. Stephen's Episcopal Church. And so I'm just going to write that there. No judgment if you choose Wenceslas, I promise. So I write my choice here. So I'm thinking, okay, Stephen will probably get into the saintly 16. Now you'll do that for all of these pairings here. So I'll show you an example here. The next one along that list is Teresa of Avila versus Crispin. I'm going to choose Teresa. So you'll do that for all of these pairs, again, just like a March Madness bracket. And then here, you're going to, again, predict which one would win. If you are right and Stephen is going up against Teresa, who do I think would win? I'm going to still be loyal to Stephen. Why not? Put Stephen right there. All right. So now Stephen is in the elate 8. I love it. All right. So you keep going down the bracket, filling it out until you have your final 2, and then your prediction of who will win the Golden Halo. All right. Now, once you've done this, once you've filled it out, your work is not done. You have to somehow get me this bracket so that I know that you are competing in the parish event. All right. I can't enter you in if I don't have your bracket. So before Ash Wednesday, which is March 2nd, you need to somehow, you can turn a hard copy into me. You can make a copy on a copy machine, or I'm happy to do that for you and give me the copy. You can take a picture of it and text it to me or email it to me, scan it into a scanner and email it to me. Somehow get me this bracket and make sure that when you send me your bracket, you write your name on it, because it would really stink if you had the best bracket and we didn't know who it belonged to, right? Stinky. So make sure you have your name and send it to me. Now, when Ash Wednesday starts and the official Lent Madness voting begins, you can still participate. You can go to lentmadness.org, and each day you will have some of these voting, head-to-head voting polls that you can vote in. So if you picked Stephen versus Wenceslas in your bracket, maybe go to lentmadness.org and put in your vote for Stephen, right? Try to advocate for the person that you put on your bracket, sway it a little bit in your favor. You don't have to do this, but it's kind of fun to see how the voting progresses. I have got this big old bracket here. And so I'm going to also be watching the voting, and I will post regular updates. I'll write them on this bracket, the actual results, right, from the voting. So that way we can all be comparing the individual brackets to the ultimate actual results of the voting. If you win, if at the end of the day, when all is said and done and we know who the official Golden Halo person is, we'll look at all of the brackets and we'll see who had the best one, who made the most accurate predictions. And if you had the best one, you will win the St. Stephen's version of the Golden Halo for being the best predictor. And we do have a prize for the person that has the best bracket. So I think this is a great way to, learn about some saints that maybe you're unfamiliar with. Maybe you'll have somebody's story in here that you're inspired by, you want to learn more about. Some amazing people, amazing men and women in this year's round. So I encourage you to pick up a bracket, pick up one of those cheat sheets, do your best to fill it out, get it to me, and then follow at lentmadness.org and vote for your favorite saints as Lent continues. If you have any questions, you can reach out to me or you can reach out to Amanda in the office. Be well, friends, stay safe, and I'll see you soon.